What am I doing with all this stuff? We've already talked about Goku, but that's right. We've never talked about this. Special effects for fighting and making looking posing stuff things. Let's get into it. So originally I reviewed this guy and then decided that the superhero version was the better one for me. I just like the colors overall, the effort put into it, his skin tone, all that stuff. But today we have to look at the effects and we need this Goku specifically because it comes with this extra head that does not work with the superhero version because the skin tones and all that stuff. Anyway, let's see what this box is all about. That is the sound effect you use when you take things out of your packaging so that everything is super cool and all your friends think you're cool. And the internet hears you do that and they're like, wow, subscribe right now because that was so cool. Then you get the instructions in the box, which is behind the sleeve inside the box. And it tells you basically, hey, do all this stuff to make it work. Okay, you got little hooky things that are single and double barrels and that's how the effects work. Okay, so if you're not paying attention, then you don't know what you're doing. And you don't want to ever look like a fool on the internet. Trust me. Let's take this plastic off because there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, we got a lot of accessories. We got a little hooky things. I've already forgot what that one does. That's to shoot his little blasty blasts. Duh, how could I forget? There you go. So it plugs into the bottom of these things. You only get one? It's called an air bullet joint and you only get one, which is really, really stupid. There's two size blasts, but you can only have one blast coming out at a time? What? Okay. I know that doesn't cost a lot. So why would they only put one in there? That's so frustrating. Well, let's just look at it and see if this thing's worth getting. It's so stupid. Obviously, you do whatever hands you want at the end of the day, but this is probably going to be the best for a blast. Look, he's looking at it. How funny. Honestly, I'm so defeated in this set already. I'm gonna say right now, how many minutes are we into this? Recording wise, 5 minutes and 45 seconds, which there was a lot of time cut out of this thing. So I already don't think it's worth it. This blast looks kind of cheap. It's not my favorite, and I hate that you can see the little hook thing. But I suppose it just depends on where you decide to leave the hook in. So if you have them set up on the display, you can kind of try to hide it. But God, Goku's probably my least favorite because of the sleeves, by the way, out of all the Dragon Ball I've dealt with so far. But that just looks so cheap. Yeah, not a fan. They should have just had his hand molded into a version and you just stuck that on there. Or had a hand with a peg hole in it and you just peg it into the hand like we've done with other characters. Why is this the setup? Whatever. All right, let's get a punch or something on. Folks, I don't like this thing already. We're gonna put some stuff on here. God. If we can. I was honestly like, this is one of the few things out there that I was like super excited about, and because they generally don't come with anything, so it'd be nice to have. But what is this? He's got a double one on his leg. I know I'm using the big one, but look, there's the big one, and it's just wrapped around his boot. We're gonna take this big one, we're gonna take this hook thing, and we'll see, that's actually got a pretty tight fit, but it's not gonna be a tight fit around his leg. How did they do that? All right, for somebody that does a lot of poses and knows what the heck he's doing with stuff, why is this so stupid? Why is that like that? Okay, that's the large one, which the large one would make sense because it's his leg. Let's go to medium size. Okay, it's tighter. So what do you do with the long one then, or the big one? All right, if you go to the medium size, it is a tighter, better fit. Okay, so maybe I'm coming around a little bit. So there's a kicky. Jesus. I don't think I care for this set. Let's try that other head because I do like the head so far. Looks really cool. You get the hair moving, which is nice. Best thing about the kit so far really is just the alternate head. It's got a great look. Right? It's got the line work, the expression's nice, the hair movement is really cool. And of course you can trade out your faceplate. So if you just want him in the wind flying or something like that, then it's gonna look good. These effects so far, not doing it for me. But if you get the right size loop thing, the medium size is what you're gonna need for his legs because they're gonna get a little bit tight around his boot. This is so annoying. I don't know. Even for photography, I'm not sure that this thing is really worth it. The price isn't great. It's like, if you get the right angle, it can look kind of cool, but for the most part, I'm really not a fan of this. It's more cumbersome and annoying as heck trying to get this stuff to work. Like now I can't get his stupid foot out of it. Oh boy. I don't know, let's just go with the little punchy thing and see what that looks like for the sake of it. So you could do this one, which is a pretty straight on punch setup. If I can get it to snap. There you go. So you get a nice straight fists punch. Or, God, this is like, this is one of those things where like, I'm probably not going to even pose this guy because I've been incredibly frustrated this entire time. But you can do these like swooping ones, and obviously you can do like the single or double peg option. So depending on how much effect you're trying to add to this thing. So there you go. You got, oh God, see what I mean? It's just not great. Even he can't believe it. What? I'm not good at doing a Goku voice. And it is dumb. Of course, I'm gonna get comments and people are like, what? I love that set and it's great for me. And I don't know why you sound like that, but in my head, that's what you sound like. No offense. I don't mean it to be rude. I just, it's a big no for me. And for somebody that wants special like powers and abilities and stuff, I thought for sure this was gonna be a yes ma'am, but I hate it. There's no way to do it that I can see of, but it would be kind of neat to have his instant transmission, but whatever. And when I was putting this thing back away, I noticed that the peg broke off of one of the things. Look, it's stuck in there. So that's cool. Thanks, Vex, for letting me review this so I could break it for you. So I guess be careful, folks, if you're gonna buy this thing, that it's gonna break and drive you nuts. It is now day 2, and I have collected myself. I'm about to revisit this whole setup to see if I can go from loving to hating to back to loving this set, okay? Day 1 was very frustrating, but let's look at how these work with other figures, and maybe that's enough to say, you know what? I think I do want this set. It's ultimately going to come down to finding the right pieces that fit around these other lines, these other figures that you're collecting. So here with a Wolverine setup, obviously some downsides is the placement. I think you would probably want it further up on those blades to really kind of sell that look of this slashing. That one's a little bit better, but again, it just really depends on the pose, right? But not quite enough, and I was kind of hoping that he would be the savior. Let's stay with Marvel Legends and let's check out Rogue. So maybe a nice cool punch effect since she doesn't have the blades. The placement should be better. The smallest one is actually still too big to really be a tight fit on her. All right, if you push it hard enough, you can get it onto that back piece of the glove. And I think that's gonna do it. So let's get this one here. It's pretty close. It's not bad. It's definitely giving that effect, but it's still a problem. All right, so Marvel Legends are out of the picture. So the limitation is gonna be because of the rings. Because it would be nice to have something for like a slash effect on his sword, but it is a great fit around the wrist. So yeah, that's gonna be, it's gonna be up to you whether you think that's good enough. Which in all fairness, they're not designed to go around the weapons. It's the fists and the legs. So we're gonna have the same problem with the movie turtle, so it's honestly not even worth it. Plus, obviously, you know, you're adding like a cartoon look to a real thing. Up next, we got a Jada Toy Street Fighter, which might do it. So this actually looks pretty good. I have to use the smallest one, and it's still a little bit loose because you're really just using the pressure of the fist going into the joint to hold it. But that actually works pretty well, and I think if you had Ken, then the contrast of the white with the red would be really nice. So this is actually working really well. And it kind of works, but you have to kind of sandwich it in there behind his heel because it's too loose, and you have to use the largest one because his feet are so wide. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hit or miss whether you can really use this with other lines, other brands and stuff. I still, at the end of the day, just do not think this thing is worth it. So there, still stands. I'm not a fan, do not recommend. And if you enjoyed watching this video, but you want to see something more positive, then watch that video there because I actually really enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.